Oh, hi everybody, and welcome to my cooking show. Today I'll be making you, for your viewing and tasting pleasures, a vegetarian burrito, because I'm a vegetarian. The first ingredient that we're going to use is about 2 cups of chopped sweet potatoes. Now, we're not going to keep the sweet potatoes chopped like that, because they're hard to eat and they're kind of starchy and nasty. So I think the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to have to boil them up and mash them. I'm going to just set you guys right over here. Make sure that your pot is at a rolling boil of water, just like that. That's perfect. Now we're going to add our sweet potatoes. Now, you can make as many of these as you want. I mean, they're just absolutely delicious, and they're actually pretty fairly easy, I'm not going to lie. I mean, it may seem like a lot of steps, but it's worth it. Now, I know a lot of you are probably asking, Alex, why are you a vegetarian? And well, I have an answer for you. I watched a little documentary on how horrible animals were treated from the farm to the plate. And it really opened my eyes, and it really just kind of made me take a whole new perspective on animals, and and I just appreciate them a lot more, and so now I'm a vegetarian. I've actually been a vegetarian for about a month, and I was a vegetarian for a few months last year, and then just some things happened and I stopped. But now I'm definitely ready to be a vegetarian again, and I actually like it a lot. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab about half of an onion. Here I have about a half of an onion. I'm going to peel the skin away because nobody likes onion skin. That's just gross. Now, usually I would dunk this in cold water because for a little not so well-known tip, and sometimes it is a well-known tip, if you dunk your onion in a bowl of cold ice water for a few minutes, it will actually lessen the acid in the in the onion, and so that means that you won't cry as much, which is also a good thing. So what I'm going to be doing with this onion is I'm going to actually chop it up, and I'm actually kind of lucky. I think it's because it's been in the refrigerator for a little while. So I'm not tearing up at all. It's not, the acid in the onion really isn't bothering me at all. Okay, so here I chopped up about a half of an onion. And what we're going to do is we're going to sweat the onions. And for those of you who don't know, when you sweat onions, it's when you put them in oil, over heat obviously, and you put your garlic, minced garlic. We're going to put about 2 tablespoons of minced garlic in there. And we're going to throw some salt in there, and the salt will cut down the acidity of the onions in your food. So that's what we're going to do next. I'm going to start with the sweating process of my onions and garlic. I'm going to turn on my oven to medium, a little over medium, and I'm going to add some canola oil. You can really use canola vegetable oil. It's really the same thing. Apparently canola oil is healthier for you, but I'm already eating vegetarian. What's the big deal? Alright, so I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of canola oil. I'm using Wesson, but you can use really whatever you want. It's not that big of a deal. Obviously my pan isn't hot yet because I just turned it on. So I'm just going to throw in the oil. I'm just going to let that heat up for a few minutes. It shouldn't take too terribly long to heat up. And yeah, now it's a waiting game. We're just gonna wait for the oil to heat up, and then we're gonna start our sweating process. Okay, so now our oil's all warmed up, and so I'm going to take our chopped onion, and I'm going to throw it into the hot oil. Carefully, obviously. And immediately before I do anything else, I'm going to grab a wooden spoon to protect the pan, and I'm going to just give a quick stir of the onions. That way the ones on bottom don't get burned, and the onions that might have been on top of other chopped pieces get down onto the heat so that everything cooks nice and evenly. Okay, that's perfect. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take some minced garlic. Obviously you can mince your own. I'm just going for ease and what I actually just have in the refrigerator at the moment. I'm going to take my minced garlic and I'm going to add 2 teaspoons to the onion and oils. Just like that. Can't get much easier than that, right? And again, I'm just going to do a quick little stir. And now I'm going to add my salt. Not too much, because it's not really needed that much. It's just enough to do its job, I guess. So I'm just going to throw the salt in with the onions and the garlic. We're just gonna let that kind of do its thing in the heat while it warms up. You know when it's done when the onions start to get mushy a little bit. That sounds weird, but that's what it's like. And just a little tip for those of you who may not know, it's very, very important that you keep stirring when you have garlic overheat, because it's garlic can overcook very easily, and when you overcook and burn garlic, there is a horrible, horrible bitter taste, and there's just no saving burnt garlic. You'll have to start all over, and really no one wants that. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of money, and nobody likes wasting either of those things, right? Okay, so once your onions and your garlic is done cooking, make sure that you remove them from the heating element, that way nothing burns. And next we're going to take 2 cans. I have 2 cans of pinto beans. Okay, so I've drained my 2 cans of pinto beans, and now we're going to move the pinto beans from their cans into the mixture of onions and garlic that I have put back onto my heat. That's roughly what it should look like. Doesn't that look so good? Okay, so like I said, we're going to add pinto beans to the mixture. And we're not going to keep it in too long because we just want it to basically be warmed through. And now what I'm going to do with those, what should be now fairly cooled, softened sweet potatoes, is I'm going to mash them. Now, get out of there. Give my pinto beans a little stir. Make sure you don't forget those. Like I said, I just put them over low heat to keep them warmed up. Now, I have a hand mixer, or a hand masher rather. I find that it's easier to hand mash everything, at least for this recipe. I'll hand mash the potatoes and then I'll wash the masher and then I'll hand mash the pinto beans. I tried using a hand mixer for both of them, and yes, it might have been a little easier for the potatoes, but it was actually very, very difficult, and I actually gave up and hand mashed the pinto bean mixture. And I just think that it's easier to use a hand masher because it's just one less thing that I'll have to wash in the long run. And really, this isn't rocket science. It's literally just taking your chopped, mushy sweet potatoes and you're just going to mash them. It shouldn't take too long depending on how much sweet potato you used. It really shouldn't take that long because we don't want it to be whipped. We just want it to be mashed. We want to leave a little bit of texture there. And we have mashed sweet potato. Now that may not look too attractive, but it'll look better, I promise.